Hi everyone, I'm back with another PE video for you today. I'm going to be showing you a PE game which you can play indoors or outdoors. You can challenge yourself or you can challenge somebody else in your household. Now, the game setup looks like this. On my piece of paper I'll show you. So I've got four bases. The middle base is a circular base here, and it's got three different shapes in it. We've got triangles, squares, and circles. Now, it doesn't matter what you put in that middle base as long as it's three different types of object. So it could be three different types of shoes, three different types of hats, three different types of fruit. It really, really does not matter what it is, but as long as it's three types of different objects. Okay? Now, on the outside of the circular base, I've also got three square bases. Now, don't worry too much if they're not squared or the middle base isn't circular. This is just for the purpose of the demonstration. Alright, so the idea of the game is to get all of these three different shapes into the three separate bases on the outside. Alright, now what I would suggest that you do is nominate each base for a specific shape. So for example, this one here is where I'm going to put my triangles, this one here is where I'm going to put my circles, and this one here is where I'm going to put my squares. Alright, once you've put them into the three different bases, you're then going to return them all back to the middle base. Alright, now you're probably thinking, well, Mr. Smith, how is this a challenge? Well, what you're going to do is time yourself and see how long you take to get all of the shapes out and then back into that middle base. Once you've done that, you can then challenge yourself again by timing yourself all over and see if you can beat your score. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm also going to show you how it will work now. So, in my hand here, I've got my three different types of shapes. I've cut them out, so you can do this before you start. I've got circles, I've got triangles, and I've also got squares as well. Now they're all different colours, and I'll show you why they're different colours in a moment, because that's on my progression in my game. Alright, so I'm going to take these shapes now, and I'm going to put them into my middle base. Okay? So all my shapes are now in my middle base. On the outside of the base are three other bases. And if you can see that orange bucket there, you've got to make sure that all of those three bases are an equal distance away from where you've put your three objects. I hope that makes sense. Alright, so I'm going to start from the middle bucket. Then I'm going to put all the shapes into the three different containers on the outside. Now, again, I've just randomly gone into my garage and I've chosen four different containers. Again, it doesn't really matter what you're going to put them in. It could even just be on the ground without even going to a container, as long as it's not a windy day. But what the three different containers on the outside must be is an equal distance away from the middle. Alright? So I'm going to start from the middle bucket and I'm going to show you how the game works. Alright? So get your timer ready. 3, 2, 1, go. So make sure you take one at a time. So my circles are going into that bucket. Circles into that bucket. And then I've got a square to take one at a time. My square is going to go into this bucket here. I'm going to go back. Another square. Let's see how quickly you can do it. Another square, one at a time, really important. I've got to go as fast as I can. As fast as I can. In there. I've got another circle. So I have to go into that bucket. Get a triangle. I've got a triangle that's going to go into this container here. As quickly as I can. As quickly as I can. Here we go. One at a time. Triangle. Circle. What goes in this one? Triangle. Oh, get it. Square goes in here. And a circle, finally to, and stop your watch. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. That's the first progression. And remember, what I didn't do was the second part. So I've got to put all the shapes now back into that middle box, then I pause my timer. Okay, now, as you can see, on my shapes, I coloured them in different colours. So I've got yellow shapes, pink shapes, and green shapes. Okay, I've done that for all of them. So I've cut out 6 of each shape. There's 2 yellows, so two yellow squares, 2 yellow circles, 2 yellow triangles, 2 of each that are green, and 2 of each that are pink. Okay. Now the reason why I've done that is because what you can do as a progression is nominate now each container a specific colour. So instead of putting squares in one, circles in another, triangles in another one, you can put yellows in one, pinks in one, greens in one, and so on and so forth. Alright, so that's your second progression. Your third progression is every time you go to the bucket and place a shape or a colour into a container, you perform a different movement skill. So let me show you that really quickly. Okay, so I've gone into my bucket, I've taken out a circle. So I'm going to run to that bucket, but I'm going to hop and place that in. Okay, and then I need to hop back. I'll choose another shape. This time I'm going to do 2-footed jumps. Put it in. 2-footed jumps. I then choose another shape. This time I'm going to skip. Put it in, skip. Okay, and you can choose lots of different movement skills to practice after you put a shape into a different container. Hopefully that makes sense. So you've got 3 different progressions. Number 1, sort the shapes into the 3 different containers on the outside and then return them. Remember to time yourself. And the next time you do it, try and beat your score. Progression number 2, sort them into 3 different colours and then return them back into the middle bucket. Again, remember to time yourself, try and beat your score from before. And then number 3, progression 3, is every time you go and put a shape into a container, perform a different movement skill. So it could be skips, then it might be jumps, it might be hops, it could be moving backwards, whatever you like, it doesn't matter, but just performing different movement skills. And as you can see, I'm quite out of breath doing that once. So hopefully that will then, this activity will get your heart rate up. And like I said before in my last PE video, help you to stay really fit and active. Okay, now before I go, I'm just going to say to you, you could do this against a sibling or an adult in your household, and this is the way that you do that. So instead of having 3 bases, if you're playing against somebody else, you can take one of the bases away and leave just 2. So if I'm playing against my imaginary friend's container is this one here, and my container will be this one here. Okay? Make sure the bucket in the middle is an equal distance away from both the bases. You both start at your individual base. So I would start down at my one, my friend will start here, and then nominate someone to say go. And what you need to do then is go into the bucket, select one shape at a time, and then put it back into your base. And keep going until all the shapes have gone from the bucket, and then you can start to steal from each other. Okay? Now, you can't time yourself with this one. What you will need to do is set a clock for 2 minutes, or less or higher, depending on how fit you are, how long you can go for. And when that timer is up, then you count up how many you've got in your base, and the person with the most is the winner. You can do this with 3 people, so you could add in another base here, so another friend or sibling, or adult could get involved. So you got another base. You could have 4, 5, 6. You could have, up to as many players as you like. So the whole family could play if you like. Hopefully that makes sense. This game this morning. Please enjoy it. Try and get outside if you can. If you can't, doesn't matter. You can do it in your household on a smaller scale. That's absolutely fine. Good luck. Comment below if you've got any questions. Hopefully that all makes sense, and I'll see you tomorrow for a 10-minute workout.